So here's a look at where markets ended the first week of trading for 2024. This after we got a better than expected jobs report for December. The economy adding 216,000 jobs versus the estimate of 170,000. And the unemployment rate did not tick higher, but rather it stayed put at 3.7%. October, November, there were revisions lower by 71,000. Joining me now, Forbes Media Chairman and Editor-in-Chief Steve Forbes and former CKE restaurant CEO and author of The Capitalist Comeback, Andy Puzder. Gentlemen, great to have you both here. Steve, first to you, talk about your initial reaction to the jobs report. It was much stronger than expected, and this is something that President Biden's likely going to take a victory lap on.
Well, the amazing thing is, when you look at it, it becomes rather weird. The number of jobs were declined in the household survey, which is very good on small businesses, went down almost 700,000. The number of people in the workforce went down by almost 700,000. So you have to ask, when you look at these numbers month to month, what is going on? Do they have a problem with seasonal adjustments or something else? Because to have saying we created 200,000+ jobs, but have a decline of 700,000 in the actual household survey, something doesn't give. And has been pointed out by many analysts, is that this jobs report shows a disproportionate number of government jobs, healthcare jobs, which comes from the government. So it's not a very strong one when you go in the innards of the thing, and a lot of weirdness lurking there.
Well, and also, too, and we've kind of seen this play out, Andy, all year, and that's why we keep getting the revisions over and over, which is frustrating for those that follow and track the market. But I want to pick up on something that Steve is saying here. It's the types of jobs that are being added, healthcare, government, social services. The other side of this is those retail jobs. And, you know, we're adding restaurant jobs, leisure and hospitality, but those aren't really higher paying jobs. And the economy needs those jobs to be better quality jobs.
Yeah, we're really not seeing the kind of growth in the restaurant and leisure and hospitality that we saw last year. This year, we're seeing growth at about half of what it was last year. We added about 39,000 jobs a month in 2023. We added 88,000 jobs a month in 2022. And I think a lot of that has to do with the increasing minimum wage in a number of these states. You are seeing wages go up, but you're seeing the number of jobs that are out there going down. You know, and to add to what Steve said about how weird this is, if you look at the JOLTS report, which a few weeks ago, you see hiring is way down. I mean, hiring has declined significantly. Job openings are down significantly. Yet we've got this one report, the establishment report, that comes out showing that we've added 216,000 jobs for the month. Actually, we added 145,000 jobs if you take out the over estimates from the prior 2 months. So there's a lot of conflicting things going on in the jobs report. But I guess you got to boil it down to the unemployment rate stayed the same. Wages actually went up from 4% to 4.1%, which would indicate that the economy is probably doing better than people think, and it's going to be difficult for the Fed to reduce interest rates as rapidly as people predicted.
And we saw that initial reaction when the report crossed. At the same time, you know, obviously we are in an election year, and there's a lot to discuss there. You do have Republican presidential candidate Ron DeSantis. He's calling for a change in taxes. Watch this.
I want to eliminate the IRS, and I would like a flat, one single rate, flat tax. Is obviously I would only do it if it was lower taxes for everybody, but that is the ideal tax system.
Steve, you ran for president. You've been a big fan of the flat tax. Why should American voters support this?
Well, it's a moral issue. We spend 6 billion hours a year filling out tax forms, $200 to $300 billion a year complying with this corrupt monstrosity that nobody understands. So you go back 20 years. Think of all the tens of billions of hours, all the hundreds of billions of dollars that could have been going for new products, new services, new cures for diseases and the like. So it's a huge moral issue as well. Get the resources and brain power into productive things. So I'm delighted Governor DeSantis come out for it. I hope he makes it a signature issue, leading with it. Then he might get the nomination.
No, we'll see if New Hampshire, the game changes there. That's a great point, Steve. You know what? Also, too, let's talk about the national debt, because the U.S. national debt this week hit a new record at $34 trillion. But the White House says, don't look at them.
Republican tax cuts are responsible for 90%. 90% of the increase in the debt. 90%. That is something that Republicans are responsible for.
Andy, what about all of the spending that we saw when President Biden first took office? That seems to be the real question mark here.
Yeah, we've got revenue, federal revenue is at historic highs. What we've got is $6 trillion in spending by the Biden administration that's driven up the deficit. That it's just like if you have a business or you have a household. If your revenue, if your income is increasing, but your expenses are increasing faster than your revenue, you're going to have a big deficit. This year, Biden administration was predicting to be 1.7 trillion. It ended up being about 2 trillion. So it shouldn't be a surprise. We're spending way too much. We don't have a revenue problem. We have a spending problem.
We really do. Steve Forbes, last word.
Well, I think that gets to the nubbin of it. The government's taking more and more resources from the American people, and that's not right. And I think that's going to be the big issue. Who do you trust resources to? The people who create them, the American people, or bureaucrats in Washington? I think it's a slam dunk. Republicans, I hope you run with it. Then you'll win.
And well, here we go with that. Steve Forbes, Andy Puzder. Gentlemen, thank you so much.